glasses cases. Hi sewing friends, today I'm super excited to share with you a fun project that is also a great scrap buster. And I know it's kind of early being that it's still summer. We are marching towards the holidays where we may need some gift ideas, and if you're wanting to make your loved ones or your friends some fun gifts, this is a great make. I had so much fun making these, and I actually have been using them for quite some time. They have stood up to, I'm kind of rough on my stuff, but they have stood up really well in my handbag, pulling them in and out. I made one for my sunglasses and then one for the reading glasses. I found that this provided just enough padding to protect the glasses and did not require a lot of fabric, and what was fun about it was that I got to use the little snaps. You can just color coordinate your snaps, or if there even have some metallic snaps that you can use. You can make lots of them. These little glass cases are a great way to also get creative with your quilting, or you can leave them undone and you don't have to free motion quilt. I did this with just some straight diagonal lines, so if you don't have a free motion quilting machine, you can easily do it without that. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and I will be making many more of these, and I hope that you enjoy this make. So I would rate this project as a beginner project. This is the only curve, and as you can see, it's not a tight curve. So the supplies that you'll need for this project: a rotary cutter, a grid ruler of some sort, and a mat. Scissors as well as snips are helpful. Some pins, these clover clips, 1/2 inch D-ring, and a 1/2 inch swivel hook, especially if you're planning on making the lanyard to go around your neck to hold the glasses case. 2 pieces of your feature fabric. I'm using cotton in this case, 9 inches by 9 inches, SF101, to just make it a little bit sturdier. You'll want a piece of batting, and you'll want to cut your batting a little bit larger than your square, so this one's 10 inches by 10 inches. If you're planning on making the lanyard to go with it, you'll need a strip of cotton fabric that measures 2 inches by 3 inches. And you're going to want to go ahead and press it in half, and then press it the raw edges in towards the middle, and then press it in half again, so you'll wind up with something that looks like this. I don't bother interfacing this because the material is folded over 4 times, so I find it's plenty steady for just and then for lanyard to go around your neck, or the strap that goes around your neck, cut a piece of fabric that is 2 inches long by about 52 inches in length. Now this is going to depend on where you want it to fall on your chest, and also if you're bigger busted you may want to make it longer, or if you plan on wearing it as a crossbody then you could make it longer. So of course you'll need your sewing machine and thread, and matching your fabric however you want it, or contrasting, an iron and an ironing board. And then if you plan on doing some quilting, you may benefit from these grippy gloves to help you quilt. You'll also need snaps, so you'll need a snap and a setting tool. And I'm going to just pick out a color that is complementing the fabric. So let's see. It's a tough one because it's off-white, so I can't use. I think I'll just do the hot pink. Alright, so let's get started. So let's prepare all of our materials. Grab one of the exterior pieces of fabric, and you are going to press the bumpy side of the SF101 to the wrong side of the fabric with an iron, following the directions of your interfacing. So I'm going to do that off camera. You'll also need some sort of a plate to get a gentle curve. So for your strip, you want to make sure that you're cutting with a grain and not on the cross direction, so that you minimize the stretch, since it is something that's going to be sustaining some weight, and that way you don't have to really interface it. So just avoid cutting it on the diagonal because that'll make it stretchy and go all kinds of wonky. Then you'll want to press the strip in half just like the other, and then bring in the raw edges towards that center line, and then fold it in half again. Next thing we're going to do is take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch down each of the outside edges with a 3mm stitch length, about 1/8 of an inch in from the folded edge on either side, and repeat it also for the long strip. Now go ahead and grab your D-ring and decide which side you want facing out, especially if you have a fabric that's a little different, and thread it through, and then match up the raw ends and put a little row stitching just beyond the D-ring, taking care not to hit the metal ring. You can clip this, or you can just hold it together. You just want to make sure that the folded edges are stacked nicely. And I like to go down the same direction as I did the first time so that it doesn't tend to twist. So I went this way, so I'm going to go down this way. Actually, I like to come in this way. So you're nestling that raw edge in. Just double check to make sure nothing's gotten twisted coming out on the other side, and turning the raw edge in, making sure everything's tucked in, and then running a stitch line across. And you can also do like little squares with X's, but I'm just going to do across. This can get kind of thick, so I actually think I have a denim needle in here as from a last project, so it's just as well. There. So the lanyard is completed for the strap. So next you're going to have your piece of exterior fabric that you've interfaced with the SF101. You're going to center it on your piece of batting. I've got dog fur everywhere. Just center it. You just want to make sure the extra batting's on the outside because we're going to quilt this. And however you like to quilt it, you could do straight lines, or you could do all kinds of free motion quilting. And you're just going through the main fabric, and the batting's going to be on the back side, and that's right. Cross hatching, you could do rectangles or tic-tac-toe look, or this stippling kind of effect. Next I'm going to just trim off the extra batting. So next, grab a marking tool and you're going to fold it in half. So I grabbed the smaller saucer. This one's just shy of, well, it's about 6 inches. And you're just going to get a marking tool. I'm just using a disappearing ink. And you just want to have the saucer hit the edge on both the long side and the short side. And you're going to trace the curve and cut along that curve. And you're going to take this lining piece and repeat it. So then you're going to place right sides together. You're going to pin them together. Okay, so then I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew 1/2 inch in from the edge all the way around, but I'm going to leave a gap of about 3 inches on the side for turning. This time I'm going to use a 2.5 millimeter stitch length. Just back stitch on either side of the gap. So next I'm going to trim all the way around except for where the gap is for right now. There are a couple of options here. You could have just curved one side to get this effect. This one's going to be curved on both sides. I'm going to take the seam ripper and decide where I want the lanyard to come. And you can just not sew the part that you're planning on doing, but I like to sew it so that it stays in place and nothing shifts. And I'm just going to unpick some of the stitches. It might be easier to do it this side. There. You just want to unpick enough to slip this part in this way. You want to make sure that the D-ring's going in. That way I can feel and make sure it's lined up. You just want to bring out some extra so it'll catch. I'll take it back to the sewing machine and sew over that. Right now it's time to turn it right side out. You can trim that bit too to reduce the bulk. So I decided I am going to free motion quilt this, and so I've dropped the feed dogs, I've changed my foot over, and I'm putting the stitch length to a 3 millimeter. And this is just practice for me because I'm teaching myself how to free motion quilt. So no judgment, please. Right, I like the way that turned out. I think it was just kind of more whimsical, along with a whimsical kind of fabric to do it that way. But if you want a more contemporary look, you could just do straight lines. And so next, all that's left to do is to take it back to the sewing machine and start a straight stitching line, 1/4 inch. Not all the way around, but you're just closing the bottom and the side back stitching, and you're just leaving this open to slip your glasses in. So I just clipped it shut, and I'm going to start right where that straight line meets the curved line, back stitching. Just going to go over this part one more time just to strengthen it. Well, I might as well go all the way around again. I gotta say, there's something tactile that I love about it when it's quilted this way. I've noticed it. I've had the other two glasses case for some time, and I just love touching it. I don't know what it is, but I do like the effect of it when it's free motion quilted. If you don't have snaps, or you don't want a snap on it, that's fine. If you want to put in a snap, you can. That's what I'm going to do next. So I'm just going to slip my glasses in and sort of decide where I'd like for them to snap. Maybe 1 inch down, maybe a little bit further over there. So I'm going to use an awl and poke a hole through it